Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 12 of What If Naruto Had Cosmic Energy. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Had a New Dream That Will Change Everything over on Anime King 2, and enjoy that guys. And stay tuned for a new episode coming over on Anime King, which I hope you enjoy as well. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Haku was signed, as she remembered the Hokage telling Naruto not to tamper with this ability of his, seeing that he had no idea what it can actually do. And the last time he did it subconsciously, it ended up creating a darker version of himself that wanted to kill all of his precious people. But nevertheless, Naruto created a small rat that he named Rimaru. The thing was able to transform into anything, but the more transformed and the larger the animal, the more of its cosmic energy it used, as Naruto could see it flowing through the thing's body. He had no idea, not even Orochimaru knew, how he was well created, but still, he had knowledge that he could transform into anything, and that was rather weird. As Naruto hadn't told him to transform into any human, so he didn't know about that part, but still he could transform into anything, but he doesn't really know how he was actually created. That was the weird part. After that, Naruto made his way out, as he knew that he was being followed. He was cornered in the field by Yujito as she started to attack him. As, being the sweet talker that he is, he managed to calm her down though, but not before getting kicked in the nuts 3 times. But still, he was just so charming as he managed to get her to calm down and eat it. He even managed to kiss her once again. As, he then decided to tell her about the CRA. He then got out of there so fast. She would chase after him, but she knew that he was long gone by now. The next person to find where Naruto lived was Samui, as Naruto was quite surprised by that. How was she even here? It turns out that Kakashi was the one behind this, as the girl had asked him for his aid to locate his student. Kakashi didn't remember. He didn't want to tell her at first, but he then remembered when Naruto kept on shrinking his house and messing with him. As he laughed to himself as he told her where Naruto lived, as he didn't knew how this was going to backfire on him. Samui came there. She also kicked him right in the nuts, as Naruto was really getting tired of this, and it was also painful. But he managed to calm her down as well. But still, after he shared a kiss with her, she pushed him away. She promised herself that she wouldn't give in to temptation, and looking at him, she just ran away, as she couldn't help herself. So with that, she was gone. Karu was the only one that didn't come to visit him, as she was having a dream of the both of them on a secluded island. She woke up quite flustered about the things that they were doing. The next day, they were going towards the exam, as Naruto left Orochimaru behind, for Haku to help him, understand human interaction, seeing that he almost killed Samui when she was playfully hitting Naruto. Getting hit in the nuts was rather hard, so yeah. But still, he didn't want her to get hurt, but Orochimaru almost killed her. So it's better to teach him how to read the room. As Haku told him that she will, she kissed him on the cheek for good luck, as Naruto headed off. He arrived to see Sasuke and Hinata. As they made their way, they came upon Lee as Naruto introduced Tenten and the others to Sasuke and Hinata, while introducing Neji in a rather bad way, as Naruto told him that he couldn't wait until Hinata kicked his ass. Neji scoffed at that, but Hinata didn't look away. She had gotten a lot more confidence and able to express herself quite well, and she wasn't so shy anymore. As Neji simply scoffed, there was no way that she could actually beat him. Well, that is what he thought. They made their way towards the exam room, as everyone had their eyes on them. As Naruto simply shrugged it off, Ino came in and jumped right in his arms, as she really missed him. She hadn't seen him in a long time. It made the other girls in the room glared at the both of them, as they could feel the killer intent coming towards them. Before anything else could be said or done, the exam began, as Naruto was seated right beside Temari. So yeah guys, was basically as well. I thought you guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So let's begin this new episode. Naruto was dying. Yes, he was dying. But he rather liked this way of going out. After all, if he wanted to die, this was the best way. Being strangled to death by two very large set of breasts. His face was currently planted in Uncle's chest. The reason of this happening at the moment, and the reason of all the glares that he was getting from the boys around, as they were insanely jealous. Hinata blushed in embarrassment as everyone is looking their way. Sasuke lowered his head. His teammate was always gathering attention on him. Always. As Naruto could feel the oxygen leaving him. But it just was so pleasant. He didn't want to move, although he was dying. Figuring that it was enough, Uncle released him as he swayed on his feet. She looked down at him. Anything else to say, Brad? She asked. No, Uncle said Naruto. When she said that the force of death was, well, dangerous, he had scoffed. And that caused her to trap him in her bosom and squeeze him. Well, it's not like he didn't like it. Different girls around her having different opinions on the situation. Sakura shook her head. It seemed like Kurona Sensei was right. He was truly a shameless pervert. Hinata sighed, as everyone was still looking at them. Despite getting over her shyness, people focused on them in large groups was still too much for her. Yujito had her hands behind her, a neutral expression on her face. But if you look closely, you could see that her eye was twitching. Who was this scandally looking woman? Just grabbing him like that, she thought to herself. Karu was pissed off, but she tried not to let it show. Samui seemed cool as always, but on the inside, she was cursing. As Amoy looked towards his teammate and sighed, Naruto was really pushing his luck. One of these three girls would probably kill him by the end of the day. He simply shrugged. Temari glanced over. Why should she care, she thought to herself. But seeing that just got her a bit heated. Why? She simply shrugged it off like it was nothing. As Naruto swayed on his feet once again as he stood still, something then clicked to him. He didn't know what the hell that feeling was. As he glanced over the area, his eyes looking towards the grass team. There was a grass team with three older shinobis, but there was another one with two guys and a red-haired girl. The red-haired girl had strange markings on her arm. If you look closely, it looked like bite markings. She saw him looking at her. She covered up her arm, pushing it within her clothing as she turned her head. He didn't know what it was, but what was this strange feeling? On the other hand, Karin Uzumaki was confused. She could feel the same feeling in her chakra as this boy. Karin Uzumaki was a strong sensor, a really strong one, as she was a part of the hidden grass coming here to take June exams. She never really had a good life, as she was mostly used so that they could heal themselves in the war between grass and bear country. She was used a lot. Right now, her teammates were using her. She didn't have the manpower to fight back, as she had to listen to what they say. There was mental and verbal abuse she received on a daily basis that made her quite, well, draw in on herself. She was still a part of the hidden grass. She had lost her mother. All that she was told that her mother had lived up her usefulness, and she was next, and then they started to bite her. She could spread her healing chakra through someone's body by them biting into her skin, and the marks remained on her skin. Something that she was, well, ashamed of sometimes. But it's not like she could actually stop them or prevent them from doing what they want. As she thought, she didn't have the manpower to do anything. They would always force their will on her, especially her two teammates. She glanced towards her side, as the one with short, brown hair looked at her with a leering look. As she turned her head forward, at least he wouldn't do anything in public. Not that he hasn't tried before. She glanced back towards the blonde. She quickly turned her eyes as his eyes looked directly into hers. What was this feeling she was getting? It was like, could he be? Her mother always told her to hide her last name, as the clan that she came from was now extinct, but the users of those clans were very rare, and the things they could do were unmatched, so she should never give out her last name that easily. But she wondered, could this boy be a Uzumaki as well? A feeling of dread swept over her when she felt something else, something lingering beneath the surface. It was two sources. One of them was corrosive and dark. It seemed to be locked away, but she could feel it. Her sensibility was just that powerful. And there was another one, spiking with unrestrained energy. It felt like it wanted to burst, like it wanted to consume the boy as a whole. She was confused. And those two powers were different from his chakra. What exactly was he? She was cut off when the whistle was blown. Go and get the scroll. The boy to her left, known as Zeno, brown hair with dark brown eyes. He was wearing the traditional black off the grass with a headband on his forehead. You heard Zeno. The boy to her right, his name was Kuga. She nodded as she made her way towards the scroll. As usual, they were always taking advantage of her to do as they please. As she made her way to get the scroll, she felt him pause, and she had to pause as well, so she did not bump into him. She wondered why he was just standing there, as she could feel him looking at her, standing right in front of her. She got embarrassed as she quickly turned the opposite direction. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? Said Hinata, as she saw him just standing there. His back was turned towards her, so she did not see the red-haired girl that moved around him quickly. Aren't you in enough trouble with those girls already? Said Sasuke as he saw him stand in front of the redhead, as he was in front of Naruto. But he saw the look on Naruto's face, which was oddly serious. Really serious. Naruto-kun, Hinata said. Oh, I'm fine, said Naruto, as he still can't understand what this feeling was. It was like he knew her. That was strange. He shrugged it off as he made his way to get the scroll. The group received a heaven scroll, so all they needed was an earth scroll. They were lined up in front of the gates. Alright everyone, Uncle said, as she already told them the rules. Many of them were still murmuring. They had 5 days to survive in the forest of death. They had to get a scroll opposite of theirs, and they had to have all their teammates or else they will fail. And if they open a scroll before getting the tower, they will fail. If one of their teammates die, they will fail. Yes, so they had to make sure they keep them alive. That was very essential for this part, keeping your teammates alive. Many of the older Genins had a wicked smirk, as they were planning on killing most of the younger Genins, so that they wouldn't have to take the exam with some weaklings, especially the Sound team. One Genin in particular, that was from the hidden grass, had a sinister smirk as he stood there. He was wearing a hat that covered his head, and a purple obi, and a strange rope wrapped around his waist, also purple. A long tongue came out of his mouth. As he licked his lips, his eyes firmly set on Naruto. Naruto felt something shiver down his spine as he turned, but he did not see anyone in particular. He shrugged it off as he turned back towards the gate. Alright everyone, once the gates are open, you can proceed inside, said Uncle. As everyone waited, it didn't take too long as the gates opened up, as they flooded inside. Uncle stayed behind as she watched all of them flood inside. She quickly propped up to a tree as she unsealed a large bento box. Nothing but her favorite food in the world, dango. Usually she would be at the tower, watching them go on in the forest with the security cameras inside. But she didn't feel like it today. And not to mention, she wasn't worried about Naruto at all, as she knew that he would get through along with his team. After all, she had sparred with the boy, 1-to-1, and she still couldn't believe that he was that ridiculously strong for his age. And she could still tell that he was holding back. The battle hadn't come to a winning though, as the both of them never ended it. They fought till time got real late, and the both of them got exhausted. And once again he had surprised her by pulling Seiko out of nowhere. She didn't know how he did that. She was probably guessing that he had to seal away on him, but he always had Seik or Dango for her. That is what made her just love her little plushie so much. Yes, he was like a little plushie toy, with those whisker marks on his cheek. She flicked the scent bond to a tree after she finished the Dango, as they embedded in the tree, as she kept on flicking them to create the leaf insignia. She heard screams of terror. It made her smile, the force of death doing its job. Meanwhile, Karin looked towards her two teammates. "Here's the plan," said Zeno. "You take this," as he handed her the art scroll that he had. "You will stay out in the open. We will wait for a team to ambush you, and then we will take their scroll." Sounds like a good idea, said Kuga. Karin started to sweat, but as she adjusted her glasses, "What if I get hurt?" she said. "You will do as I say," said Zeno. "I'm the leader of this team." Despite there being no leader of a team, he always acted like he was in charge. She opened her mouth to say something as he slapped her across the face as she fell down to the ground. She held on to her face as she looked up at him. "Were you about to say something?" he asked her. "No," she said. She lowered her head. "That's right," said Kuga. As she should know her place, he thought to himself. She weakly accepted the scroll as she picked herself up. "Make sure you leave yourself open as possible." Meanwhile, 3 Rin Genins were currently hiding. All of them were in a black bodysuit, with breathers over their faces, waiting for their opponents to arrive, as all of them sit in hiding, melding with the shadows under a tree. "Hey guys, what's up?" said a voice. The 3 of them were startled as they turned to see a blonde-haired kid standing there. He smiled. "Kaboom," he said. "Kaboom," one of them said. Boom! Naruto body exploded. A great explosive clone that blew the 3 of them away. They managed to flip, as the explosion wasn't that bad to kill them. The moment they landed on the ground, 2 of them landed on their feet, the other one falling down to the ground. They were assaulted. The first one received several jabs all over his body, throwing him back to a tree as he hit against it as he fell down. The first one received a hard, brutal ox kick that dropped down on him, right on his shoulder, the weight bringing his head straight to the ground as he was knocked out instantly. The third one tried to crawl away, only to feel a hand on his shoulder as he looked up into blue eyes. Sorry, there's nowhere to run. Naruto simply chopped him in the back of the neck as he fell unconscious. Sasuke walked over as Naruto grabbed his hand. "Say it," said Naruto. Sasuke pulled his hand away. "No. I said say it," said Naruto. Hinata sighed. "Say it," said Naruto. Sasuke huffed as he turned his head. "Say it," Naruto said, "or we're not leaving here." Sasuke grumbled something under his breath. It was really hard for him to say it. "Oh, I didn't hear you." He grumbled something once again. "What was that?" "I said you were right. You know this forest better than me," said Sasuke. As Naruto smiled. "Was that so hard to admit?" "Yes, actually it was," said Sasuke. As Naruto simply laughed. "Come on. You doubt my skills about this forest, and I told you, I know this place up and down. I've been here a lot of time before." "But why Naruto can ask Hinata?" "With a friend," said Naruto. "Let me guess, a girl," said Sasuke. "Yeah, the proctor of this exam." Sasuke blinked. "Wait, are you..." "No." He looked at Naruto surprised. Being with a girl his own age was one thing, as he had seen Naruto had a tendency to, well, be some kind of player. But that proctor, it couldn't be. As Naruto simply smirked, confirming Sasuke's suspicions. Well, he didn't confirm anything, he simply smirked. But Sasuke took that to heart though. As Sasuke really wondered, "How are you getting away with these things?" "What do you mean?" said Naruto as he was searching through the pockets of the Rain Ninjas. "Don't they know about each other?" Sasuke asked. "And those 3 from Kumo, they are part of a team." "I have no idea what you're talking about." Sasuke eyed twitched. "Stop acting like the fool," he said. "Huh? Hinata, do you know what he's talking about?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know," she said, as she gave Sasuke an eye smile, just like Kakashi. "You too?" said Sasuke, as she merely giggled into her palm. "Bingo!" said Naruto as he tossed up the scroll, as he got the scroll that he wanted. Hinata was surprised. "Huh. I guess we were just lucky," she said, as Naruto placed it in his pouch. "You know, if we get out of here right now, we'll probably be breaking some history of exiting the forest of death so quickly." "Really?" Sasuke said. "And how do you know that?" I'm just guessing, but think about it. I mean, I doubt anyone has received their scroll yet. Well, perhaps that sand team. Why? Asked Hinata. Let's just say that redhead is quite strong. And how do you know that? Said Sasuke. Just a thought. Just pray that you don't fight him, said Naruto. Are you trying to say I'm weak? Sasuke asked. No, far from it, said Naruto. He's just ridiculously strong. Come on, let's go. Sasuke seemed to grumble to himself, but Naruto heard him. Of course I'm the leader, said Naruto. As Sasuke eyebrow twitched. And who appointed you as the leader? Well, Hinata did. Isn't that right, Hinata? Hinata nodded. Yes. If Kakashi-sensei is not here, Naruto-kun is the leader, she said. And I didn't get a vote, Sasuke asked. Well, we knew that you'd vote against us, so I kind of created a clone and had it transform into you. And the clone voted yes. Sasuke eye twitched. That doesn't mean I said yes. It kind of does, said Naruto. Just shut up and let's go, said Sasuke. As Hinata and Naruto started to laugh, when suddenly, Naruto twisted his body out of nowhere, jumping in front of the two of them as a strong gust of wind smashed into him with so much force he was sent sailing away. His body had taken most of the hit. The both of them were blown off their feet though. Naruto and Hinata cried out. As Sasuke quickly jumped to his feet, he had to grab Hinata as he leaped, another massive wind gust smashing into the ground. What the hell? This was definitely not genuine techniques. It seems like someone was really after them to kill them. Meanwhile, Naruto picked himself out of a tree. God damn it, he said. As he stood on his 2 feet, he felt it coming, but he was not fast enough to get the both of them out of there. Well, he could heal, so better him take damage than them. Suddenly, the ground under his feet broke open. What the hell? That was all he could say before he was devoured. A large snake swallowing him and rushing off with tremendous speed. Meanwhile, Hinata and Sasuke were hiding behind a tree as they felt nothing but malice and pure raw, unimaginable killing intent. Hinata felt her literal bones shaking with fear as she could not understand who was this person. There is no hiding from me, said a voice. She and Sasuke quickly leaped as the tree was blasted to smithereens. Something had crashed into it. They then saw a giant snake looking down at them. With a grass, Kunoichi standing on it. She smiled. I wonder, how resilient are you two? She reached up and pulled down her eyelid. A potent amount of killing intent. This was more than killing intent watch over them. This was beyond anything they've ever sensed before. It felt like they were seeing their deaths over and over. Sasuke subconsciously activated Sharingan, but it was still affecting him badly. As he saw Hinata on the verge of passing out, he reached for a kunai and stabbed himself in the leg. As he grabbed her, the snake smashed into the tree that they were on. Ah, quite smart. Injuring yourself to escape out of my illusion. That is why I've chosen you, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke looked up confused. Who the hell are you? Oh, would you like to know? The grass ninja said. Meanwhile, the snake that was carrying away Naruto writhed in agony before it stopped, thrashing around as its body started to melt, allowing Naruto simply just walk through the melting husk. The thing lay on the ground dead, and it then poofed away, its body returning back to... Oh no, said Naruto as he turned, his eyes turning purple. He shot off the ground so fast it broke under his feet. He was sure Uncle was not messing with them, so this could only mean... As Naruto speeds through the forest, he smashed on tree branch, leaping from tree to tree branch, taking them down as he moved. As he was making his way, there was a group of rain ninjas that landed in his path. You're not getting past here, one of them said, unless you hand over your... Naruto went through hand sign, wind style, great wind breakthrough. A massive gust was released as they were blown away as he just kept on running. Meanwhile, Sasuke was panting as he was scared, his Sharingan looking around quickly. He had managed to trap the grass ninja and burn her, only for her to remove her face, showing that she was Orochimaru. Hinata looked towards him as she saw him shaking. She was not doing much better either. I'm surprised the both of you were able to last this long. But, unfortunately, I can't stay here for too long. That is why I'm gonna need the both of you to stand down for me to give, well, you a gift, Sasuke. Sasuke's lip trembled. A gift? Yes. Something that will help you in the long run. Something that will make sure Orochimaru snapped his head to the side. Small twigs that were coming towards him enlarging into several trees that crashed down towards his position, crushing him under the weight. As a massive boulder came out of nowhere, smashing down on his position. As Naruto landed, the both of you need to run. What? Said Hinata. You guys need to get out of here. This is Orochimaru of the Sun. I need you guys to get out of here immediately, said Naruto as he looked over them. The both of them are not in health condition. Scratch and bruises are all over their body, but nothing too fatal. Sasuke managed to push through his shock. We can't just leave you here against this guy. He's a Sannin, right? You're gonna die, said Sasuke. He's after you, Sasuke. What? Yes, I'm sure that he's after your eyes, said Naruto. My. Young Naruto-kun. So smart as ever. I see that you have improved. Why don't you step aside and allow me to get what I want? After all, you know what I'm after already. I must ask though, why do you think I'm after young Sasuke's eyes? Or that I'm even interested in him at all? Knock off the bullcrap, said Naruto. We both know that you want to learn every single jutsu. The Sharingan is a great tool to help you do that. But you're not gonna be getting Sasuke. You're not gonna be touching either of them. Because I'll do what many others failed to do in the past and kill your slimy ass, said Naruto. As Naruto looked back, get out of here, he said. We can't leave you, Naruto-kun. Look, I'll find you once this is over, but if you stay, you're just gonna get in the way. I need more room to let loose, said Naruto. Sasuke, listen to me. Hinata, just believe in me. I'll be fine. The both of you just need to get out of here. He's mostly after you, Sasuke, and we can't allow him to take you at all. Please, said Naruto. The both of them saw the urgency on his face. Hinata looked at him. Promise me that you'll come back, she said. I promise, said Naruto. Making promises like that. Quite confident are you, said Orochimaru. But I'm afraid I can't allow you to take Sasuke. I need him. Orochimaru slickered forward with such immense speed Hinata was shocked. She was barely able to track his movements. Sasuke couldn't even see him neither, as he appeared in front of them, only for him to duck out of the way, as he nearly got sliced in half. He had to leap back from several swords, nearly piercing him. As fast as ever, Naruto-kun, said Orochimaru, as he licked his lips. It's a shame I can't take you because what you hold inside of you, but you will not prevent me from giving Sasuke my precious gift. Go, now, said Naruto. The both of them glanced towards him one last time, as Sasuke and Hinata nodded. Before the both of them moved off, Orochimaru shot forward, only to have the area in front of him destroyed. A massive explosion that threw him backwards. When he got back to his feet, he saw Naruto holding up his hand, smoke coming from his palm. I won't let you touch them. This won't be like last time. I'm a lot stronger now, Orochimaru, said Naruto. Oh yes, last time. Flashback. Naruto was on the ground, panting. At the moment, he was 11 years old. Both him and Jiraiya were going to meet up with a contact that was near the hidden zone. But for them to find out that it was a trap, there was a group of sound ninjas there that had taken the contact and tricked them into coming here. And it so happened to be that Orochimaru was also near the vicinity. The group of sound ninjas that took on Jiraiya. Being a Sannin, they stood no chance, but Orochimaru had quickly went after Naruto. Orochimaru saw things that surprised him, and he decided to take a chance by biting Naruto in the neck, giving him that seal. But to his surprise, as Naruto panted on the ground, the seal started to get overtaken by a red cloak. Orochimaru was shocked. After all, the secret of who the Nine-Tail was sealed within was never public knowledge, so he did not know. So it was quite surprising to find out that this boy was a Nine-Tail host. Jiraiya had slaughtered all of his own ninjas, wasting no time to save his godson, as Orochimaru had quickly fled, as he was not in the mood to get in a fight with Jiraiya. End of flashback. So you've gotten stronger, have you? Well, I still can't have you messing up my plans. He shot forward, intending to get past Naruto. I told you, you're not going anywhere, said Naruto, as he slammed his hand on the ground. A massive mud wall erupted all around them, cornering Orochimaru inside, as Naruto flipped through hand sign once again. Fire style. Heat generator, he said as he slammed his hand on the closest wall. All of the walls got hot, to the point where they were boiling. Suddenly, Naruto switched places with his clone outside. He then slammed his hand together as a clone had received the amount of chakra necessary. It started to turn purple, adding in the chaotic, cosmic energy. Orochimaru's eyes went wide. Great clone explosion! Boom! A massive explosion with heated walls. It was an inferno that trapped Orochimaru inside, burning everything within its grasp, tearing trees, rocks, and everything down. Naruto stood there, as it took a lot of cosmic energy to pour into that explosion. As he stood there huffing a bit, as he watched, the walls had broken down. He had to shield his eyes. Something came flying out towards him. He twisted and sliced it in half. It was a snake. Orochimaru then pounced on Naruto. I'll just finish you off before I go after them, he said. His speed was electric and fast. Naruto dodged as the man had teared through a tree, completely ripping it. As he flipped back and went through hand sign. Fire style. Infernal rage, he said as he blew out a stream of fire. Orochimaru went through hand sign. Water style. Raging torrent, he said as he blew out water from his mouth that clashed with the fire as it created steam everywhere. You won't escape, Naruto said in the smoke. As he held his hand together, there was an ability that he refrained from using, as it was too destructive when his friends were close around, given the fact that they were gone. Cosmic discharge, he said. A ball of chaotic, cosmic energy was formed in his palm. It grew wider and wider, till it surrounded Naruto in a shield. As he released it, the dome of energy ripped through the forest, tearing through everything. Orochimaru leaped away as the thing was still coming. He quickly dived under the earth to escape. To his surprise, though, the thing was even feeding under the earth. How was that even possible? He cried out in pain when the thing ripped through his system, causing him to shudder in pain. He had to open his mouth wide as another Orochimaru slipped through. Orochimaru was shocked. This mere boy had made him a Sannin, had to use that technique to save his life. Once again, Naruto couldn't surprise him, having abilities that he couldn't explain. Why don't you tell me how you did that, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru said, and I'll probably let you off to live. After all, you've messed up my plan so bad by stopping me from getting the Uchiha. I'm gonna make sure you suffer every single way until I'm done with you, unless you tell me how are you doing these things. Naruto tossed something towards him, but Orochimaru did not see what it was like a pebble. Orochimaru's eyes went wide. He wouldn't fall for this as he moved to the side, only for hundreds of paper tags to be unfurled as Naruto enlarged and back them. Boom! A massive explosion shook the entire forest. Smoke was seen bellowed out from the top of the forest. Naruto quickly unsealed his swords. Come on, we both know that you're not dead. Stop hiding. As Naruto tilted his head as a blade past his throat, it nicked him slightly, causing him to move out of the way. He thought he was moving faster than that, but the blade still nicked him. He leaped to the side. I must say, Jiraiya has taught you a lot, but I'm afraid that you're still not Sannin level, boy. Orochimaru shot forward. He slammed his Kusanagi blade against Naruto's two blades, only for Naruto to bite on something as a third blade came in his mouth. As he enlarged it, he swung towards Orochimaru's throat. The man tilted his neck back at a strange angle before his neck shot out and wrapped around Naruto's body like a snake. His fangs extended, dripping with venom as he brought them down. Naruto cursed as he moved through one-handed hand sign, Earth style, indent, he said. As Naruto's body became hard, Orochimaru's fangs clashed against his skin. It caused a lot of chakra to turn his skin like this, but he needed to maintain it for the moment. Orochimaru slammed his fangs against it, trying to break through, but Naruto's skin was just too hard. As Naruto used an opportunity to reach around and grab onto Orochimaru's flesh, Orochimaru yanked himself away before Naruto could do anything to him. As the boy could literally make things shrunk and things bigger from what Orochimaru seen so far, and he wouldn't want to turn small, as he wasn't sure how that would affect him, so he wouldn't allow the boy to touch him for more than a second. As Naruto raised both hands to his side, the ground started to shake as Orochimaru watched. Telekinesis? Two massive boulders were digged from the ground as Naruto threw them. Orochimaru decided to show that he was a Sannin as he smashed his hand into both boulders as Naruto held his hand tight together, trying to squash him in between. This will not outdo me, boy, Orochimaru said in a shout of rage, releasing his true power for a moment, just to show Naruto that he was still out of his league. He blew away the two boulders, breaking them to pieces as he launched towards Naruto's speed, increasing by tenfold. He launched his blade down towards Naruto's three blades. The Kusanagi blade sheared through them like they were nothing but butter, and it was a hot knife. It slashed into Naruto's shoulder deep as Orochimaru kicked him in the stomach. He was senile as he smashed into a tree branch. You should know, Naruto-kun, I've always wanted to test the Kusanagi poison against a Jinchuriki to see if the Biju can heal. How corrosive the poison is. I wonder, will you be able to survive? Damn it, I need stronger blades, said Naruto. Cosmic weapon, god, and demon slayer, Viper. As Naruto wondered what the hell was Viper, when he saw a glow literally leak from his arm to form something Orochimaru watched. But Orochimaru also saw the toxin of the Kusanagi blade being purged out of Naruto's skin, as the black toxin literally was being poured onto his shirt and onto the ground. How was this even possible? But that was not what Orochimaru focuses on now, as Naruto was also surprised. Viper? A blade formed in his hand. It was a katana, but it was more sleek and defined. The hilt was black, with red trimmings around it. On the tip of it was three skulls. Their eyes had a purple glow in them. At the bottom, the end, there was a V for Viper, he guessed. On the blade there was carvings, strange carvings that seemed to light up. Beside it was a sheet to place the blade in. Orochimaru shot forward as he brought down Kusanagi. With so much force, there was no way Naruto could block this. As Naruto quickly grabbed Viper and placed it up, bang! The two chaotic forces slammed against each other as a tremor went up, throwing Orochimaru back. To his surprise, Orochimaru was seen sailing through several trees, breaking through a large boulder in the end. He picked himself up slowly, confused. To his utter shock, the Kusanagi blade was broken. But how? Orochimaru watched as Naruto was marching towards him. I told you, I'm a lot stronger than before, as Naruto swung Viper. But not on, well, any purpose, just to show a remark. But to his surprise, a blade of condensed purple energy spewed out like a slash. It severed several trees before Orochimaru leaped. Orochimaru flushed his chakra through the Kusanagi blade. As the edge was fixed back, the blade regrew itself. My blade is quite special as well, Naruto-kun. But let's see how long you can hold out on me, Orochimaru said. Yeah, let's, said Naruto as he slid his foot apart, his eyes turning purple. Orochimaru licked his lips as his eyes became narrowed and dangerous, his bloodlust leaking everywhere as he was going in for the kill. But suddenly he paused. It seems like we don't have enough time, my dear Naruto-kun, he said, as he could feel them coming on him, the envoys. He had to leap away as Naruto tore right through the earth. My, you have surely gotten faster. But not fast enough, as Orochimaru leaped away. We will meet again, Naruto-kun. And next time, you won't stand in my... He had to quickly sink in the earth as Naruto swung Viper once again, tearing through the earth itself. As Orochimaru had fled, as he could feel him run away, he dropped to his hands and knees, panting. As he looked around the area, this is the exact reason why he told Hinata and Sasuke to get out of here. They would have gotten hurt. He tried to absorb Viper like his other weapons, or tried to shrink it, but to his surprise, it was not going anywhere. He walked over as he picked up the sheet, so he would have to hold this thing in his hand. But to his surprise, the thing flew out of his hand and stuck to his back. Naruto stood there confused, his eyes wide, as he saw several envoys rushed over his head, all searching the area. They were moving fast, but he could see them quite well. But Orochimaru was long gone by now, he could tell. He reached for a Viper as he pulled it out of his sheet, the sheet still on his back. He placed it back as the thing was firmly there, despite not having anything to hold it there, because the sheet was not tied to him, so what the hell? He just called another strange mystery of him as he made his way. Meanwhile, he never released a sigh of relief. She wouldn't just leave him like that. Both her and Sasuke were hiding as Sasuke looked over towards her. It's over, she said. Orochimaru ran off. Naruto-kun, it's fine, she said. Sasuke released a sigh of relief, as he really appreciated his teammate for that. He didn't know what to overcome him, but he was so afraid. He felt like he was gonna die. And this guy saying that he was gonna give him a gift, it unnerved him. As he released another long sigh, at least everything was fine now. He let Naruto her eyes. What's wrong? Naruto-kun turned off. Turned off? Yes, he's going the opposite way. As Sasuke got to his feet, then let's go, he said. Meanwhile, Naruto was making his way as he heard a scream. As he could feel it, that same girl from before. It was her. But what was going on? He arrived to see a giant bear as he was about to pounce on the girl. He wasted no time as he flipped in mid-air, his leg taking on a purple glow. Slam! He crushed the bear's skull with one single drop kick. Karin slowly picked up her glasses, feeling no more threat as she put them on to see the handsome face of her blonde savior. As he stood there on top of the bear looking at her. Hey, are you... He couldn't get to finish a sentence as two chains launched from the bushes. But to Kuga and Zeno's surprise, Naruto caught them. As he yanked the both of them, they fell face first as Naruto leaped forward. Karin was shaking as he landed in front of her, despite her cheeks still being a bit red. Are you okay? His voice was so warm and soothing. She looked at him. She could feel people quite well, their emotions, and she could tell that he was actually care about her well-being. Yes, I'm fine, she said. He held out his hand and she took it. The moment their hand touched, a bright purple glow encircled the both of them. Images washed through Naruto's mind as he saw Karin, but she was younger. She was crying as she was being dragged away from her mother. He could tell by the emotions, and she was screaming her mother's name and calling mother as well. Her mother was covered by a white blanket. The image had shifted as he saw Karin getting bitten after bitten. Some of the man biting all over her body, even undressing her to do so, to get her first spot to bite. As Naruto saw her crying midnights alone, and then he saw those two boys outside, Kuga and Zeno, picking on her, kicking her down to the ground. the both of them taking pleasure in biting her, even when she begged them to stop. The both of them even trying to rape her. As a larger man came there and broke it up, telling them not to harm the asset, as she was still needed. As he saw Karin cry that night, he didn't even know how he knew her name. It just came to him. It was like he had some strange omnipresence to know who she was. Karin Uzumaki. Uzumaki? But meanwhile, Karin's eyes were wide. She didn't know what this sensation was, but it was pure, basking. This was the unconsoled energy that was inside of him. It made her wonder what was the other one. But that was not the surprising part. Her bite marks. They were vanishing one by one. Kuga and Zeno were confused. As Karin watched as Naruto's face twisted into a snarl, she couldn't move or neither could he. She didn't know what was going on. But his eyes were white and purple at the same time. His face was getting more and more angry as she could feel this dark chakra inside of him, twisting and turning in rage. As Naruto saw those two boys taking pleasure out of biting her to make her feel pain. Especially the one known as Zeno and Kuga going along with it. And he saw them slapping her in the face a moment ago. The world returned back to normal as Naruto dropped to his knees panting. Karin fell back as well. But to her utter shock, all her bite marks, she looked under her clothes, they were completely gone. She felt a strange sensation that entered her body. It was weird. She fell face first, only for Naruto caught her in his arms as she went unconscious. Zeno walked over as he placed a kunai at Naruto's back. "I suggest you don't move or you die." "Yeah, you heard him," said Kuga. "And release her. She's our property." "Is that how you see her?" said Naruto. "As your property. Something that belongs to you." The kunai pressed deeper into his back. "I suggest you shut your mouth, brat. Unless you don't want to leave here. And I would gladly do that for you. After all, killing another leaf scum is not a big deal. You were gonna rape her if that man didn't arrive." Zeno was confused. Well, it's not like he hadn't tried more than once. But someone always stopped him. After all, to him, she belonged to him. She was on his team. She was his asset, something that he could use. Neither of them noticed Naruto's hands turning into claws as they dig into the ground deep. The both of them were too busy, focused in that they got him, and that he couldn't do anything to retaliate. "You know, I don't like killing people, but scum like you don't deserve to live." Slam! A small pebble moving at such speeds, slamming to anyone's skull would cause him pain. So Zeno was knocked back when the pebble hit him hard with Naruto telekinesis. "What the hell?" said Kuga, as he quickly unsealed a large mallet and brought it down towards Naruto's skull, only for Naruto to bring up his hand and smash it to pieces. His hands glowing purple, his eyes also glowing purple. As Naruto didn't know why he did this, but his hand lunged out and grabbed Kuga by the face, his purple eyes staring deep into Kuga's. "Repent for what you have done, you disgusting, heartless monster!" As Kuga started screaming pain and agony, as everything bad that he has done to the poor people, children, kids younger than him, forcing himself on people, younger girls. After all, the hidden grass was not a good place, much like the hidden sound that was created, and the strongest rule over there. As he saw all of that, and it was hitting him over and over, but it wasn't like a memory, it was like a guilt suppression, something strange. His eyes literally burned to the point where they were getting hot. He screamed on the top of his lungs before he fell over. His eyes melted out of their socket, and he stopped breathing, dead. Zeno saw what happened as he was running for his life. He didn't really care about anyone but himself, and this strange kid wouldn't kill him here, so he ran, only to feel something drive through him. He looked down to see the edge of a blade, as Naruto had threw Viper. Naruto launched Zeno back to him and pulled him. Zeno crashed into the ground, blood spraying from his mouth. As Naruto tear Viper from his back. I'll give you whatever you want. I'm quite popular in the hidden grass. I can offer you many things. Please, don't kill me, he said. Scum like you, as I said, don't deserve to live. As Naruto slammed his hand on Zeno's head. Once again, he didn't know why he was doing this, but it seemed natural. Like this was the best way. Otherwise, Zeno was gonna bleed out anyway, as no one had come across to help him. Zeno cried out in pain, as Naruto's nails extended into his skull, piercing his brain. His body went still, as his head cocked to the side. Naruto's nails retreated as he moved his hand back. He looked at the redhead that was still fast asleep. Don't worry, Karin, he said. He kneeled down and picked her up in his arms. I won't let anyone hurt you anymore. But guys, the ends episode right here. If you want the next part, so do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.